Hey folks, Daily Landsblog for October the 7th, 2018. So I was thinking about last week. I gave speeches at Luke Sklar, you know my buddy, you know his story, the marketing agency that he started. I gave a speech at Queen's Park. I spoke to Mississauga Fire at RBC. And then I went to Fredericton to speak to about 500 workers, mostly blue collar workers, mostly people that I could actually really relate to. And what I found was, in every one of those locations, every single one, I asked the same questions. I said, how many of you have struggled with a mental health challenge? How many of you have cared about someone who struggled with a mental health challenge? How many of you have been touched by suicide? And also, how many of you see mental illness and physical illness as being somewhat different? Meaning, how many of you kind of believe the stigma, buy into the stigma? And I know that people aren't very quick to raise their hands to something that people would criticize them for. But I try to make them comfortable and feel like, yeah, it's okay to say that because we know it's out there. So what I have learned over the course of last week and over the course of my travels is that nobody sees themselves as part of the problem. Nobody sees themselves as being part of the stigma, yet every single study we know shows that it's out there. So how do you work on a problem that people don't acknowledge is there? So here's your assignment. Here's what I need you to do. First of all, answer this question. Do you see mental illness and physical illness as being different? Meaning that physical illness is more serious, more rooted in something physiological and probably tougher to treat as opposed to mental illness like depression where, yeah, we know it sucks. But there is, to some extent, some amount of self-infliction on this, that somehow we are at least partially responsible for it. Do you see it that way? And if the answer is no, find someone who does. Ask that question to people and get back to us. I need to find one person who's willing to say, yeah, you know what? I do see them as different. Until we start to find people to use them and magnify their message so people can hear their message and say, well, no, that doesn't sound right, but that sounds like me. We're going to keep spinning our wheels. We're going to keep trying to fix something that nobody seems to think is broken. SickNotWeak.com, 24 hours a day, 364 days a year. We're here to ask the questions apparently others aren't asking.